AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Oh, by the way, it's a hump day. Hey. Yeah. Hump day.
It's hump day.
Saints opened up camp today.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
And a starter has been lost for the season.
Hump day.
We'll talk about the Bryan Bresee injury.
It's hump day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike? Hump day.
Lane Kiffin was at Rotary today.
It's hump day.
We'll hear from the LSU head coach.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Frank Schwab covers the NFL for Yahoo.
Hump day.
He'll be here next hour.
It's hump day.
Ole Miss is suing LSU players.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
We'll talk about it.
Hump day.
React to it.
It's hump day.
The greatest of all time is back.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Our guy.
Hump day.
Tom Brady's back.
The man whose career was launched right here on
It's hump
AFR.
day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
A man who owes his success to us
Hump day.
and ours to him.
It's hump day.
Cooper Rush,
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
starting quarterback yet again.
Oh, no.
Hump day.
We bequeath all of the AFR karma upon thee,
It's hump day.
our dear friend Cooper Rush.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
We don't know him.
Hump day.
Our best friend.
It's hump day.
All right. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Saints opened up training camp today on the field for the first time. Pretty fired up for it, man. Golly. Year 2 under Kellen Moore. Lots of expectations. Tyler Shuck taking over. A year ago, they were battling for the starting job. Now we know he's entrenched as the starter. Coming into this camp, healthy. Jordan Tyson ready to go. Kendre Miller ready to go. And right out the chute, Nick Underhill was the first to have it over at New Orleans.football. Saints defensive tackle Bryan Bresee suffered a knee injury at camp today. Will be undergoing further evaluation per sources, noting that Bresee had his fifth-year option picked up for 2027. Injury is feared to be season-ending, which is brutally bad luck for him. That's the tweet from Underhill. And then a short time later, Ian Rappaport tweeted, citing sources, he and Mike Garafolo over at NFL Media, that Bryan Bresee is feared to have suffered a torn ACL. That, of course, would mean that the former first-round pick is done for the season. One practice, and Bresee done for the year. Okay, let's dive into a little bit of this and what it means and everything therein. It's interesting that just a day ago on the eve of camp, we were talking about veterans that are going to have to fight for their positions and some of the position battles worth watching. And one of the ones I mentioned was Devon Gottschall, because Gottschall a season ago had his lowest PFF grade of his career and played the fewest snaps of his career in a full season. The COVID year, he was limited to 9 games. Forgive me, I'm not looking at it right now, but he played the fewest snaps of his career in the COVID year, but didn't play a full season. So we talked about Gottschall being a guy that, with all of the talent and youth behind him, might have to fight for his job. And we mentioned, of course, Bryan Bresee, former first-round pick. Vernon Broughton, who they drafted a year ago out of Texas. Christian Miller, who they drafted in the second round this year out of Georgia. Nathan Shepard. You look at the depth there at defensive tackle. And just like that, Bresee's season is over. If we look at Bresee, there's an interesting conversation about Bresee because he's a former first-round pick, and the metrics show that he improved last year, but the statistics do not. What I mean is, last year, Bresee had just 2.5 sacks. As a rookie, he had 4.5. In his second year, he had 7.5. So you're thinking there's a blow up the launch pad guy from the interior. So he goes 4.5, 7.5. And then last year in year 3, he dropped down to 2.5 sacks. He had just 37 tackles on the season. But if you look at PFF, and again, we talk about PFF all the time, it is a metric. It's not the metric. It's just something to consider. As a rookie, his overall grade was a 45. In 2024, this is the weird juxtaposition of Bresee. So in 24, he has 7.5 sacks, but his PFF grade was a 36. Which is terrible. But he had 7.5 sacks, which is productive. Then last year, his PFF grade skyrockets to a 52.9, which is not great, but it's 20 points higher than the year prior, but he had just 2.5 sacks. No matter how you slice it, this is a guy who's given you roughly 700 snaps defensively and is a starter. And as a guy who the Saints picked up his fifth-year option for 2027. So they see a lot of value in him and what they're building. But now you're going to be without him for this season. So now you look and say, okay, no Bryan Bresee. What does that mean at that spot? Well, it certainly means that Devon Gottschall is no longer really in jeopardy of losing his position, of losing his job. He's a 10th-year pro out of LSU. We're all pulling for him. We wanted to be great. But last year was a rough year for Gottschall. Now you need him to be really available and productive for you. We can look at a lot of the guys there. Vernon Broughton ended up playing in just one game and then was lost for the season. But remember, Vernon Broughton is the big defensive lineman out of the University of Texas, where he played for Bo Davis. Bo Davis, who left Texas, went to LSU for 1 year, and now it is his second year with the Saints. But Broughton was at Texas under Bo Davis. He's 6'5", 311 pounds. He was a third-round pick, but played just one game a season ago, then was lost for the year due to injury. But Broughton's back on the interior. That's a third-round pick that you think should be an impact guy. Then you bring in Christian Miller this year, second-round pick out of Georgia. Like, you're going to use a second-round pick on a guy. You expect the second-round pick to make the team and be an immediate impact guy. Maybe not necessarily a starter, but a guy that's going to be an impact player. And at that position where you're going to rotate bodies, yeah, you expect Miller to be there. And we talked about a guy like Xavier Harris. Now, he's starting the season on the NFI list, but that's a non-football injury. But he's 6'8", 330 pounds coming out of Ole Miss, and but for some of the off-field stuff, likely would have been a top 50 draft pick. Maybe a day 2 guy. But he had the off-field stuff, goes undrafted. The Saints pick him, and the hope is you keep him on the straight and narrow. Maybe he could be a really big-time impact player for you. We'll see. It remains to be seen. But an opportunity there. Nathan Shepard returns, played in 16 games for you a year ago, had 47 tackles, 4 TFLs. So you got bodies, but you're losing a guy that you were really hoping was going to take a big leap in his 4th season after the Saints picked up his 5th-year option, the former first-round pick, a guy who's been durable. Bresee played in all 17 games each of his first 2 seasons. Last year, played in 15 games, missed 2. But he's a guy that's been available, been durable. And again, like, the organization felt like he was a productive player even if the statistics didn't show it. And they were expecting a big year this year, but it's been chopped down before it even starts. Bryan Bresee lost for the season due to what is reportedly a torn ACL the first day of camp. As we get more information on Bresee's injury and what this all means, we'll certainly pass it along to you. When Kellen Moore met with reporters after practice, he did not comment on Bresee's injury. So with the reports out there now, the next time Moore speaks with reporters, most certainly we'll say something. And as we have more, we'll certainly pass it along to you. All right. Our show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU. Of course, you can get the officially licensed cans and bottles, both for the Tigers and for the Saints. The official beer of the Saints as well. So you want the black cans with the Saints fleur-de-lis on it, you can find them. You want the 12-ounce cans, the 16-ounce bottles, you can find them. Look for these specially marked packages at great retailers near you. Or if you're at your favorite watering hole or restaurant, ask for it by name. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Okay, it's after further review. We got tons of Saints stuff to talk about. Kellen Moore met with reporters after practice, as did Alvin Kamara, as did Tyler Shuck. We'll let you hear plenty of that throughout the show. The final sort of public appearance for the LSU football coach annually before the start of fall camp is the Rotary meeting the Wednesday before fall camp begins. Well, that was today, and Lane Kiffin was the guest speaker at the Rotary Club of Baton Rouge, and he spoke, and we'll let you hear what Lane Kiffin had to say, and we'll react to it next on AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about our friends over at Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. You know where they are. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every day to buy local and shop local over at Clegg's Nursery. Check them out on Facebook. Remember, anytime they get a new shipment of anything in, the first place they post it is on their social media. So their Facebook is a great place to go to check it out. You want to save on flowers and plants and trees and shrubs, they got it. Even things like root stimulator and plant starter solution from Fertilome. They've got that over at Clegg's Nursery. So again, if you're trying to beautify your outdoor space, maybe you want some accent pieces like bird feeders, hummingbird feeders, tuned wind chimes, outdoor mats. I got all that for you over at Clegg's Nursery. So pop on in to the location nearest you, buy local, shop local, and support a great local company that's supported Baton Rouge for 60 years. Tell them Matt sent you in when you go see our friends at Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Lane Kiffin was the featured guest at the Rotary Club of Baton Rouge on Wednesday. Customarily, that Wednesday before camp begins, I mean, this has been for decades, across, I don't know if Curly Hallman did this, but I know it was true for Jerry DiNardo and Les Miles and Ed Ogeron and Brian Kelly and now Lane Kiffin. The Wednesday before camp begins, the LSU head football coach is the featured speaker at the Baton Rouge Rotary Club, and that is today, as LSU set to begin fall camp a week from today. They'll report on Tuesday, and they'll begin practice on Wednesday. Actually, I was told today they're going to do sort of an interesting thing in practice. Like, they're going to go morning, night alter. So, like, I presume next Wednesday maybe they'd practice in the morning, then Thursday they'll practice at night, and then Friday they'll practice in the morning. So I've never heard of that before. I mean, there used to be 2-a-days. So you'd have like veterans in the morning and then or freshmen in the morning and select veterans in the afternoon or something like that. But anyway, we haven't had the full schedule yet from LSU, so we'll get that. But we're a week away from LSU hitting the practice field for the first time in fall camp. You probably noticed on social media here on Wednesday, they did put out a video of some of the player-led workouts. And there are, during this time, certain hours during the summer where the coaches can work with the players. So that's some of what you're seeing out there on social media, which is allowed. But Lane Kiffin met with reporters, and I shouldn't say reporters, he met the Rotary Club, and they covered a lot of ground. And the things that I found most interesting is whenever Lane talks about roster composition. Because, look, there's newsy stuff like Sam Leavitt's injury and depth at corner, and we'll get to. But really, when you have a chance, but all that will rectify and will sort itself out when they hit the field in fall camp and they're working and practicing and we can see it. And then, all that sort of stuff. Like all that stuff will come to pass. But the other stuff, which is sort of the off-the-field stuff, roster composition, NIL, rev share, priorities, all of that sort of stuff, that theory matters a lot. And so he was kind of asked about talking about building the roster so quickly and like being able to do this so quickly from coming in, there in December and then hitting that freshman class, the December signing class a few days later, January portal, and doing that so quickly without a ton of evaluation. What does that mean about the future?
What we were going to do, coming together with our staff and our style and what we bring and coming together at LSU, would be to sign elite, great high school players from around the country and then also elite portal players from around the country. We've done that. This was combined number one class when they put those together. The point of that is for that to happen already, to put us in a position to win this year with a really talented roster is awesome. But also I want to encourage you, if that can be done in that short a time once we were branded together with LSU, what the future looks like when we have even more time to put together classes to know our own roster too.
I think that's one of the things that Lane, definitely one of the things he mentioned during his introductory press conference was he's like, I know he mentioned at the last place meeting Ole Miss, and when you have the opportunity to put the brand of LSU and Tiger Stadium and ever behind their system, what results it can net. Well, you saw that here in the early going building this roster. He also gave a hat tip to Baton Rouge in helping build this class, which is a little pandering to the home base.
When they came on visits, and these were players that in the portal that could go anywhere in the country, went to other great places on visits, one of the common things that was said by the kids, but especially by the parents, on Sunday meetings, they said, wow, it was amazing going around the university, going around the town and feeling so welcome, whether it was at the hotel they stayed at, whether it was at the different restaurants that they went to, and that everybody knew who they were, and everybody was excited about the potential of them coming here, and they felt a really home feeling, even though they're only on their visit for 48 hours. So I knew the history of being able to recruit to LSU and the stadium and the great players that have played here, but then to add that on top of it, really, I understand why over the course of time, as you look at it, it's been one of the most successful places in America, but also where great players have chose to come from not just the Southeast, but from all over the country because they feel that during the weekend.
Just to add some color to that, like if you were following the show a lot during the portal cycle, we talked a lot about those visits when guys were here. And look, we have great connections on staff. Some of the new guys that came in, a lot of the staff that was retained, and then just being around town. Listen, Supper Club, for example, is a great sponsor on the show. We've had a great relationship with them. And Supper Club was part of that rotation of restaurants where whenever the guys, the visitors, the players were coming in town, where they go to dinner. Supper Club, Brandon and Leighton, they do an awesome job over there. Our friends over at Rufino's, Shelley and Howard, and Stabs, buddy Kevin over at Stabs and Leo. They do an awesome job, man. And they're all great Tiger fans, and they want LSU to win. And, they roll out the red carpet, and they're great partners in that respect as well. But you would also have I would get these stories every night from people who were at the restaurants when recruits were there. And it's just all the people who would do exactly what Lane said. The recruits in town, everybody knows who that transfer receiver is, that transfer quarterback is, that offensive tackle, whoever it is. And they go pump them up and welcome them to town. That matters. It matters to a lot of these guys because it is a differentiator in a place like Baton Rouge. There are other places where they might be able to offer you money and playing time, but how much does it really matter to the people there? Well, you answered that question pretty quickly around LSU. Lane did also talk about the NIL opportunities that have come from LSU's brand.
everybody wants to look at NIL and think it's okay, well, how much money does the player get from the school? Okay, no, it's part of its NIL opportunities. It's not just do they have the donor base to raise the money. It's do they have the NIL opportunities because the branding of the school. And as you look at, like I said at the press conference, like Nike, Nike's given more NIL contracts to our football players. I think it's 12. The next school is 8. Not next SEC school, next school, period. So look at the branding opportunities when you come to LSU in NIL. And I think that's been missed in there, that people just think it's just, well, how much money do you have from donors? No, the kids want to know, man, that's a unique place. I can make my brand better when I go there.
Remember, this is important to note, especially on the heels of the Ole Miss lawsuit against Prince William Onmielen and Devin Harper, that revenue share is a contract. Like, that is guaranteed money. NIL, in many respects, is theoretical. Hey, if you come to our school, we think you can make X in NIL dollars. The thing that LSU has done exceptionally well, again, credit where it's due, the thing LSU has done exceptionally well through their NILSU Max program is partner with its work with its partners to build NIL opportunities. So, for example, if there's a company that has $500,000 for advertising, they would go to Max and say, I have $500,000 to spend, maximize this money spend for my business. Well, there may not be one athlete that's going to get $500,000 deal approved through the CSC, but can you take that $500,000 and do 50 deals, right, that can get approved? Now you've spread that money over multiple athletes, multiple sports to maximize value in return for that business. Now you're doing true NIL deals that are going to get approved through the CSC. That's the structure LSU has built, and they've been able to build because of the brand. That's what Lane was talking about. Now, a couple of the nuts and bolts things, two in particular. Number one, maybe I'm bearing the lead here, is probably what we should have started with. It was an update on Sam Leavitt. Lane did tell us last week on Thursday at SEC Football Media Days that Sam's good, he's fine, he's 100%. But naturally, that was going to come up today.
Sam's doing great. He's coming back from a foot injury. He's full strength. Now it's just about getting the timing down with everybody. And anytime you bring a new quarterback in, but really the world we're in now, and especially in the rebuilding the offense, all the quarterbacks are new. And almost all the receivers are new. So that's a lot of work to do. And Sam missing spring, this has been very critical in the summer. In fall camp, obviously, will be really critical. But health-wise, he's in really good shape. And he's really been grinding in there to get back faster than they even had him on track for.
It's fantastic news. It is the grinding, good shape, all that sort of stuff for sort of some intangible things. We'll get an actual in-person view of this on Wednesday when practice begins, when fall camp begins. The media is invited, I presume, to attend that practice. We'll get our first look at a full-go Sam Leavitt, and that'll start to answer a lot of the questions whenever they start actually getting into the work that they're doing. But like we've talked about a bunch, man, whatever this team is going to be, it's going to be largely on the shoulders of Sam Leavitt. And you can look at programs that have had transfer quarterbacks, and they flourished. I mean, we talk about Fernando Mendoza, but like a day ago we were talking about Oregon because Will Stein, the Kentucky head coach, was the OC at Oregon each of the last 3 years. We'll look at each of the 3 years, he had 3 different transfer quarterbacks. He had Bo Nix, he had Dylan Gabriel, and then Dante Moore. 3 years, 3 different quarterbacks, all transfers. In all 3 years, they were top 15 in the country in total offense. We could look at Miami as well, where you had Cam Ward, who became the number 1 pick in the draft, and obviously last year with Carson Beck, who got Miami to the national championship game. Now it's Darian Mensah. So that philosophy of going into the portal and getting a transfer quarterback and expecting immediate success, there's a lot of examples that show it, and that's what LSU certainly is going to expect this year from Sam Leavitt. We'll start to get a look at that on Wednesday. And then the other one that I think is really a big question is cornerback, especially after Aiden Anding's injury. You know who your first 2 are with Pickett and Woodland. After that, it really feels like it's a bit up in the air.
The quality of the backup corners is more important now than it used to be too, because it's hard to play every snap now because of a lot of tempo. But we have a lot of guys to look at, some younger guys. That's just the world that you're in now too. You're not going to be able to stockpile like you used to where, man, here's the next first rounder, coming off the bench. That's a young guy. So, but it frustrates me, but then I realize everybody's in those same situations.
Kind of owed to Joshua Dobson, 5-star number 1 corner in the country in this year's class, who was long thought to be an LSU lean, ends up not even including LSU in his final 5 because they've already got 2 guys they're paying in Pickett and Woodland, so you can't stockpile the depth there with a 5-star backing them up. So that'll change in time. But for this year, obviously, it's Pickett and Woodland as your starters. After that, I think that's going to be one of the fascinating camp battles to watch along with the offensive line. Does a freshman reclass like Haven Finney step up and have a giant year? Is it someone like Jakeem Jackson, who's a former top 10 cornerback in the country who transferred in from Florida and was really limited last year due to injury? Do we see a young guy like Michael Turner maybe take that big step this year as a redshirt sophomore in his 3rd season now? Traylon James was a safety at Southern who transferred in, and he's the only corner transfer that's going to play corner now for LSU. And then you got some freshmen like Des Ellis who's coming in. So that'll be an interesting position battle to watch. We know the first 2. It's Pickett Woodland. Who's next is going to be really interesting. So that'll all start a week from today on Wednesday. All right, it's after further review. We got much more to talk about from Lane Kiffin's meeting with the Rotary Club of Baton Rouge. He talked a lot about Billy Glasscock and that system and how all that's working out so far. Talked about the youth of this football team, how they're experimenting with AI. So talked about the future of the college football playoffs. So a ton from Lane today, and we'll get into all that here as we move along. We are brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoni.com, Williamson, EYE.com for the Williamson Eye Center, eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. We talk all the time about getting your refractive procedure done so you can get rid of contacts and glasses forever, and that's very important. It's also important to have your annual eye exam because everyone should have your annual eye exam done, especially for your kiddos. They're going back to school here in the next week or so. If you haven't scheduled it yet, make sure you get them on the books for their annual eye exam. You can take them to the Williamson Eye Center, any of their locations across the greater Baton Rouge area, in Baton Rouge proper, in Denham, or in Ascension Parish, down the river parishes. They got you covered. Zachary, it's the Williamson Eye Center. WilliamsonEye.com, Williamson, EYE.com. All right, it's after further review. Thanks for hanging out with us here on this Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. 1 hour from right now, Frank Schwab from Yahoo covers the NFL. He's going to be here with us. Kind of do a little wraparound from NFL training camps as they all open. What are the big storylines that we should be keeping an eye on? We'll do all that. If you missed the headline news today as the Saints open camp, Bryan Bresee feared to have torn his ACL. Nick Underhill over at NewOrleans.football was the first to have it. Ian Rappaport followed. So as we get more information there, we'll certainly keep you posted. Let me knock out a quick break. A former Tiger great was arrested. Sad story we'll talk about. We'll go around the SEC when we continue on AFR.
AFR.
I'm looking at my computer. There's a heat advisory in effect. The heat index today is 110. Woo! You know one way to fix that when you're outside? Get in your pool. Man, I don't have a pool. Great! I got an idea. Call Duplessis Pools. DuplessisPools.com, DuplessisPools.com, DuplessisPools.com. Remember, Duplessis Pools, they're going to build you a beautiful pool. Just go look at their Instagram. You'll see all their pictures of the beautiful pools they build. Beautiful showcase resort-style pools. But they've also been awarded and been named a top 50 pool builder in America each of the last 2 years by Pool & Spa Magazine. They're the only pool builder in the state of Louisiana to earn that distinction, and they've gotten it each of the last 2 years. So if you want the best, you want Duplessis Pools. And their pools start at less than $48K. It's like less than a car. DuplessisPools.com. Check them out online. Start today. DuplessisPools.com. Hey, on Monday, over at Supper Club, listen, yes, normally they're closed on Monday, and they are, but they're doing a special whiskey tasting and dinner over at Supper Club this coming Monday. It's limited, so you got to call ahead to reserve your spot. When I talked to Chef Layton yesterday, there were, I think he said maybe like 10 to 15 more spots, so very, very limited, but it's this Monday at 6 p.m. I'll be there. Hope to see you there at Supper Club. It's a bourbon dinner featuring Preservation Distillery with a course-by-course pairing through 6 expressions from their portfolio. So 6 different courses with a bourbon paired with each of the 6 courses. Again, this is a limited event. I think as of yesterday, there were 10 to 15 spots left. If you're interested, call over at Supper Club, say you're interested in the bourbon dinner for Monday, and reserve your spot. We'll hope to see you there. Supper Club right there on Perkins Road. SupperClubBTR.com.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Man, I hated to see this story. Demetrius Byrd was arrested in Miami. I think everybody's got it at this point. I saw it from our news partners over at WBRZ. He was arrested in Miami Beach after allegedly threatening a man at knife point. You remember D. Byrd's situation, of course. He was one of the heroes of the 2007 national championship team and got into a horrific car accident that where he had brain damage as a result. I remember around 2011, 2012, we did an event actually over at Yoga Lottie's in Baton Rouge, and that was something that D. Byrd had taken up to try to regain some of his stability and core stability and flexibility after the accident. I mean, he had neurological issues. He had brain damage. One of the stories was that that he had part of his brain was exposed. I don't mean to be graphic, but as a result of that arrest. And so can't help but wonder, and you could tell, and I got to know D. Byrd a little bit after that. I mean, obviously covered him when he was playing, but after that, and you could tell his speech was a little impaired. I'm not making excuses for this, but sometimes it's not an excuse, but it can be an explanation. So Byrd allegedly threatened a man at knife point on a bus. He's accused of getting into an argument with another passenger on a bus before pulling a multi-tool knife from his pocket and opening the blade and said, "Who wants to die?" Now, there's no report of it going any further than that, thank God. Byrd is 40 years old. He was granted a $5,000 bond at a Tuesday hearing, though he was ordered to appear before the judge regarding an outstanding domestic violence warrant. So I hate to see this, man. D. Byrd at one point in his career after his accident, he gone into high school coaching. I know he was coaching there at Port Allen on the West Bank in West Baton Rouge, and really want the best for him. He was a great former Tiger and a good guy who was dealt a terrible hand after being a great college football player, going into the NFL, having that car accident, which effectively ended his career, and trying to piece things back together and clearly still struggling. So certainly thoughts are with the victims in this situation, which is, I can't imagine being held at knife point and being threatened, do you want to die? Regardless of who the person is on the other side of that conversation or whatever their circumstance may be. For the victims of this crime, certainly considering them in the situation. So too am I also thinking about Demetrius Byrd, hoping that he can get whatever help he needs. And if it's, if it is time in a rehabilitation center, whatever it may be, that's what it may be. I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't know. All I have is the information I just shared with you that we all know is public. But we'll keep you posted if that develops. But hoping for the best for all involved in a really, really tough situation. Okay, it is after further review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Our Hump Day shows are brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, yourgoodwood.com. Hormone replacement therapy, peptide therapy. Told you yesterday about the EMSALA. We're going to post a video, actually. The EMSALA treatment. It's a chair that sends these pulse waves through your muscles, which effectively stimulates it. It's supposed to simulate 11,000 Kegel exercises. So, if you're someone who struggles with, certainly happens after, is very common after men who've had prostate cancer, and maybe you struggle with incontinence. This is something that could strengthen your pelvic floor muscles. So just a possibility. But my point is, there's so many different treatments and options they have at Goodwood. Learn more at yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Tennessee Volunteers.
Linebacker Arian Carter has been suspended for the first 2 games of the season for accepting a $427 flight from an agent after he declared for the NFL draft. He's a senior, played through a foot injury, declared for the draft, aggravated the injury, needed surgery, and decided to return to Tennessee. Well, in the interim there, he accepted a flight from an agent for $427. This has got to go to court, right? I mean, everything does. He'll miss the opener against Furman and then a road game against Georgia Tech. He'll be eligible to return week 3 against Kennesaw State.
The Missouri Tigers.
It's really hard to defend the NCAA, man. Like, I'm even trying. Like, they're trying to enforce the rules, but this is one of those reminders of how ridiculous their rules are, man. $427 flight. He's going to miss 2 games. Whatever. Hit it again, news.
The Missouri Tigers.
This is some good news. Ahmad Hardy made his first public comments since his shooting. He said, I've been waiting on that feeling. Just another obstacle that I accomplished. Steady going through things, trying to get my best to get back on the field. So Hardy was shot in an off-season altercation. Thankfully, he survived the shooting. Eli Drinkwitz did speak last week. So the bullet did hit a bone, which caused damage and has prolonged the recovery. But he says there's no question he's gained perspective over the course of the summer. But Ahmad Hardy is expected to be back on the field this year for Missouri, which is fantastic news.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Pete Nocta has moved into the interim GM role for the Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky Sports Radio was the first to report it. He played tight end at Louisville from 2006 to 2010. Was actually college teammates with head coach Will Stein during his time there. He accepted the assistant GM position at Kentucky that paid $230K, accepted that in January. Well, with Pat Biondo announcing he's resigning 7 months on the job, now Nocta has been promoted.
The Auburn Tigers.
And Auburn's going to face a Serbian pro team next month in Greece. The games will be played in Mykonos. Both will be at 7 o'clock local time. Mega Basket is the name of the team. They've faced other college basketball teams in recent years as well, including Kentucky, and they'll play Michigan later in August in Croatia.
The Texas Longhorns.
Quick baseball note. Texas has been looking for an outfield addition this offseason, and they got one in Carlos Lugo. Lugo just finished his freshman season at Campbell, where he hit .347 with 6 homers. He was an all-conference player and on the league's all-freshman team. 5'9", 185. Struck out just 8.4% of his at-bats this past year. That by far would have been the lowest on the Texas baseball team. Carlos Lugo leaving Campbell, headed to Texas. Okay, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. If you're thinking of popping the question, go to Lee Michaels. Nobody has a better selection of beautiful natural diamonds than Lee Michaels. Every diamond inspected by hand by a family member before it goes into the case at Lee Michaels. So you are buying the finest diamonds in the world at a great price with great customer service. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Maybe it's not an engagement ring. Maybe it's a birthday present, an anniversary present. Maybe it's a milestone anniversary, so you want to upgrade. You can trade in that old diamond for a new diamond, like Beyonce said. Let me upgrade you. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. We're going to knock out a break, wrap up hour number 1. To tell you just how busy of a news day it is, we haven't even yet got to Ole Miss suing the LSU players, which we'll do in about 15 minutes coming up after the top of the hour. When we come back, the legend himself is back, and we'll talk about it next on AFR.
After further review.
RevFiber.com, RevFiber.com. So when I talk about RevFiber, one of the great benefits of having an all-fiber network, of course, lightning fast internet speeds up to 5 gigs. But RevFiber is the fiber is buried under the ground. So what that means is storm comes, knocks around tree branches, they fall on power lines, and your cable and internet goes out. Not if you have RevFiber, because it's buried under the ground. So you're going to keep that incredible connectivity and those lightning fast internet speeds even when the weather turns bad. You're also going to get a great price. You're also going to get local customer service. When you call Rev, their reps, their call centers are here. They're local. They've been in our local markets for 90 years, 90 years. So you're not being rerouted to a call center overseas. It's Rev Fiber. Rev is a proud partner of LSU Athletics, whether it's for your home or for your business, internet, cable, phone, security, home automation, RevFiber.com.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Wrapping up hour number one. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. We'll talk some NFL training camp with Frank Schwab here in about 45 minutes. He's from Yahoo. Ross Jackson will be here at the top of hour 3, LouisianaSports.net. If you want Ross's report, it's up at LouisianaSports.net. I think it's right there at the top of the homepage. Should be. Yeah, it is. The photo there is Jordan Tyson. So Ross does an awesome job. He goes to practice whenever they give access and availability, and he puts out as comprehensive a report as you'll find anywhere. Of course, everything at LouisianaSports.net is always free. I have to hesitate to say, internally we refer to LouisianaSports.net as LSN, but obviously you don't know it as that. But LouisianaSports.net is free. You can get Ross's comprehensive training camp report from today, day one, and every day throughout camp there, always free over at LouisianaSports.net. And Ross will be with us in hour number 3. Of course, as we make our way through our training camps, so many different storylines abound, but it's hard to avoid the injury storylines. We saw today that the big talking point, of course, is Bryan Bresee and his torn ACL. When you think about what happened, man, just a week ago at the start of Panthers training camp with Nick Scorton tearing his ACL, the outstanding edge rusher from Texas A&M. It's Chris Brazzell, the wide receiver in Carolina, suffered an LCL tear today. Shamar Stewart with the Cincinnati Bengals was carted off today with a leg injury. It is so disappointing to see this and hear these reports, these injuries from players just as camp is beginning, non-contact injuries. It's, of course, part of the sport, and I don't even know how you avoid it. You do your best to be fit and ready to roll, but these non-contact injuries are just they're devastating to see. But sometimes when one injury happens, it opens up the door and opens up opportunity for another. And I'm not sure if you saw what happened in Atlanta today. Speaking of the NFC South, we talked about the key injuries there with Carolina Panthers, and then with Bryan Bresee today in New Orleans. But in Atlanta, Michael Penix is still not back and recovered from the knee injury that he suffered. And remember, they signed Tua Tagovailoa here this offseason, and Tua apparently had a flare-up of his injury. And so I don't even know the name of the guy who is from some school in Minnesota. Do you know that guy's name? Like some school in Minnesota, this guy was a quarterback who's playing today. And so Atlanta was in desperate need of a quarterback and of reinforcements. So naturally what they did was they called the GOAT. No, not Tom Brady. Not Drew Brees.
Peyton Manning? Oh.
Peyton Manning couldn't hold this guy's jockey strap.
They called Phillip Rivers because everyone calls Phillip Rivers and they need a quarterback coming in a pinch.
Fat Phil?
That's what they call it. The Colts did it.
Dude was, what our guy Drew Fabianich say about Jordan Seaton? Puffy?
Puffy, yeah.
Phil was puffy last year.
Phil was puffy.
When he went to, but respect to him. It's pretty incredible. 5 years out to come out of retirement and do that. But no, not Phil. Not Phil.
Flacco?
Is Flacco still playing somewhere?
I think he's with the Browns.
Is he still with the Browns?
Pretty sure, yeah.
You pretty sure? You positive? Because I don't think he is.
Then
Because that's Deshaun Watson and Shador right now.
So he must be with the Falcons then, Flacco.
Nope.
Flacco, Falcon, yeah.
I love the alliteration, but no. As much as I hate the Atlanta Falcons, for a brief moment it made me consider at least a warmth in the subcockles of my heart when I learned that Atlanta signed none other than Cooper Robert Rush. Crank it up, Muse. Crank it up for Coop.
Oh, Lord.
Let's go, Coop. That's what those of us who know him best call him. We call him Coop.
No. You don't know him.
The pride of Charlotte, Michigan.
Stop.
6'3", 225. You know he was 6'3" in the 8th grade, Muse.
I don't think that's accurate at all.
He was. We were having dinner there, and he had a growth spurt, and I was like, man, Coop got tall. Yeah, had a growth spurt. He did.
You never had dinner with him when he was in the 8th grade.
Lansing, Michigan, went to Lansing Catholic. Then went to Central Michigan, where he won 4 Heisman trophies.
He did not win 4. He didn't win 1 Heisman trophy.
Should have.
No.
He went undrafted because most NFL teams are cowards, and they were just scared that an undrafted free agent would come in and steal a job from their established starter that they were paying. Was going to make a lot of GMs look bad.
Or he just wasn't good enough out of
So
college.
he went undrafted. Then he signed with the Cowboys, and you know what he did?
What did he do?
He won the NFL MVP.
He did not.
Won 6 of them
That never happened.
in Dallas.
No, he
Should've.
didn't. He started a few games. That's all that happened.
He repped the star better than anyone, even Bart Starr.
Again, we have to disagree on that.
And I really set you up for that one, Muse. Bart Starr played for
The
the
Packers, I know.
Come on, Muse. Just try to follow me. Do a little better. Follow me. But then Dallas was like, you know what? Because Coop is so great and we have all this money invested in Dak Prescott, he's making us look bad, so we have to cast him aside. So you know what he did?
What did he do?
He went to the Giants.
Yeah.
And he won a Super Bowl.
He did not. He did not. The Giants have not won a Super Bowl since Eli Manning did that back in 2011.
Except for the time Coop did it.
That never happened.
It happened, but they took it away from him because they couldn't stand having Cooper Rush be a Super Bowl champion.
The Giants haven't even played in the Super Bowl in over a decade.
Exactly, because they wouldn't let Cooper Rush go.
You just said he won it.
He did.
He did not.
They played it and they took it away.
Never happened.
Did. Last year was with the Ravens.
Yeah.
That chump Lamar Jackson.
No,
He's not good at football.
The 65th best player in the NFL, Lamar Jackson.
I think he's like, they had him.
Whatever it was. 70th, whatever.
You know who should be one on that list?
Who should be?
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, exactly.
But after him, Cooper Rush
No.
should be on there. Number 2.
No,
on the
he
list.
shouldn't.
Coop. You know who wouldn't have blown a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl?
Who?
Cooper Robert
Yeah.
Rush. November 21st, 1993, a great day in American history when Cooper Robert Rush was born. I hate the Falcons, but go get him, Coop.
After further review.
Thinking of buying land? Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. Hunting season's just about here. Are you dreading hunting on somebody else's lease again this year? Somebody else's property on your lease? Man. You want to get rid of that forever? You want your own piece of property? You tired of worrying about bagging the big buck because should I really leave it for the landowner? Should I take the big buck down? Never have to worry about it if you're the landowner. That's why First South Farm Credit can help you buy your own recreational property, your hunting property, or maybe you're just looking for 20 acres to build your family's dream home. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Now remember, go to the website, FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. Just spell it out. They have the ultimate recreational land buyer guide. It's a free resource on the homepage. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthFarmCredit.com.